Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Soul Lounge Prime Time, and of course, a returning guest, my mayor, your mayor, mayor of the city of New York, the 110th mayor, Mayor Eric Adams. Hey, how you doing, Mayor?
Great, great. Good to see both you and Bob again. And, just really enjoy hopping on these conversations with you.
Excellent, excellent. Night Watchman, you want to start us off, man? What you got for the mayor, man?
Well, let's start off with the school, since we're in back to school, and we understand that you guys have shepherded the opening of 24 new buildings, serving 11,000 new students. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
No, we are really excited when you look at these new schools, and as you indicated, 24 new buildings, and they are really pointing our children in the direction of what careers look like after they leave high school. Like the one that I'm really encouraged about is the video and film and studios, the jobs that are available. When you look at these industries, people talk about the lack of diversity in front of the camera, but there's really a lack of diversity behind the camera. And these are good paying union jobs, how to build out studios, how to set up the stages and the systems. And so we're going to be teaching these children these skills. And so they can either go to college and continue to improve on these skills, or they can go right into union jobs. We're partnering with other industries to be a part of this. And this is a real exciting initiative with these schools. But we also put so much into our school system this year. Many people didn't know we were facing a $600 million issue where the dollars for programs were sunsetting. And we were able to ensure that these programs did not sunset by putting $600 million into investing in programs that were facing federal stimulus sunsetting dollars. Went on 5,000 new social workers and guiding counselors to deal with the issues that our children are facing with so many issues. And we expanded the Summer Rising to 110 seats. And what is a real win for us is that we fulfill 100% of the offers of children that wanted to have parents and families and children that wanted to have the early childhood seats. We introduced and infused $100 million in the early childhood plan. This is a real win for those parents that were dealing with child care issues.
Now, let me ask you this. Looking ahead, I know that you are also, or our school districts are also under some requirements next year to reach certain class size restrictions, especially in kindergarten. And so I know that a lot of the capacity building is to be able to help meet those goals. So I wanted to ask you, you feel like you're on target with that?
Yeah, we made it clear the first 2 years we had enough seats to accommodate the ruling. Year 3, because each year it builds out more and more and more. Year 3, we're going to have to make some tough decisions and decide how we can not only build the new spaces, but we need thousands of new teachers, particularly when there's a national teaching shortage. And you don't want to drop the quality of our educators and lower the standards just to fulfill the number of teachers we need. And these are some of the challenges we have. So we talk about billions of dollars in building new spaces for classes. We're talking about dropping the number. Trying to find the number of teachers that we need. And in addition to that, we're talking about that in some schools you have specialized schools. We may have to drop the admission of criteria and the number of people could get in. So we have to look at all of this to come up with the right way to solve this class size issue that we're facing.
And you know what, Mr. Mayor, I definitely also want to say I'm going to give you some props for Keith Howard over at DYCD, because there's a heading up a nonprofit out there in the Rockaways. I certainly do know that after-school programs and after-school enhancements are necessary to make sure that, as you say, we keep the level and standard of the education system going.
Yes, no, so true. And Keith is amazing, and what he has done in DYCD. When you look at the not only increasing the summer youth employment program for the first time with 100,000 summer youth. We did it in my first year in office, and we continue.
Nice.
But also managing many of the crisis management teams, and so much goes under his portfolio. He's a real hero. He did a great number of youth town halls where we heard directly from young people, and we're going to continue to see that type of leadershut out of Keith.
Beautiful, beautiful. I guess one of the other things, and here goes, the quote unquote elephant in the room. Of course, I was listening to the presser on Tuesday, and certainly we do know unfortunate incident at the West Indian Day Parade. I mean, like, but thank you for making sure that you do your best to see that people are kept safe. Yes. And as you said, your stats say this is the lowest number of shootings in the history of the city in August. So do tell, any comments?
Yeah, yes, and when you think about it, what happened at the parade, you had one individual who shot 5 people. You didn't have 5 individuals shoot one person. And it's unfortunate. Any life is a life that we should not lose, and anyone that's a victim of gun violence is something that we made clear when we look at over 18,000 guns removed off our streets since this administration. So no one has zeroed in on this issue more than I have about illegal guns. But when you look at what we accomplished this weekend with crisis management teams, clergy organizations, police department, all of these groups coming together, this is one of the safest Juves that we have ever witnessed.
Yes.
And West Indian Day Parade. If you remove that, the fact that this one person had a gun, used that gun, you remove that from the equation, you wouldn't have had any incidents of magnitude that weekend. And really, the proactive action of the police department to take 25 guns off our streets, before almost 15 were removed before the parade time, and 10 was removed on the parade route.
Wow.
And all of those guns were armed. All of them had bullets inside. So the number of lives we saved by being proactive and having a real coordinated effort from all of our partners, job well done. And I know people are want to critique because we did have one knucklehead out there with a gun, but hundreds of thousands of people enjoyed this weekend because of the partnerships coming together to prevent the violence.
Beautiful. And Mr. Mayor, thank you for also hitting the narrative. Simply because this particular incident happened, what, you want to shut it down? You don't want to do it anymore?
Right.
Crazy thinking, because it is a serious economic generator, correct?
Yeah. Oh, yes, it is. It is not only is it the symbolism of really celebrating our rich Caribbean diaspora, but it also brings in real dollars to our city, hotels, material purchase to make the different costumes and designs, the food that you go to the local grocery stores and bodegas. People are actually spending money in that area. People are generating enough income that can really carry them through much of the year. So it's like you taking the Black Friday away from Christmas. That's what you're doing if you say shut down a parade that generates so much revenue, so much excitement, and just a way of celebrating our Caribbean heritage.
Beautiful. Mayor, I'm taking that one. Black Friday. Night Watchman, what you got, man?
Well, I also wanted to ask you how we're doing. You've made it a case to address quality of life issues like garbage and rats. So how are we doing on garbage and rats?
Oh, so important. Our Radzar, she is really focused on this issue. And the key here is containerization of garbage. You can't leave plastic bags and garbage all over our streets and expect to stop the rodent population in the city. And that's what she has focused on with the Commissioner Tish from the Department of Sanitation. We're witnessing that by November, we're going to have 75% of our garbage in containers. That's just amazing when you think about it.
Yes.
And we know we're focusing on school, government to build businesses. 1 to 9 family houses is the latest entry, and we eventually going to do even the larger buildings. We have the truck that we were needed. So in 2.5 years, we created the truck. created the bins, the garbage bins. We put everything in place to go after our number one public health issue, public quality of life issue, and that's rodents. We're going after them hard, and we're really encouraging with our Rat Academy. We're encouraging everyday New Yorkers to know what they can do to fight these rodents. And we just announced that we're having a rat summit in the next few days, so we're excited about that as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. And May, I'm giving you props here in terms of really climate change, climate resiliency. Major props to Elijah Hutchinson, man. You guys, though, this is the first time ever that you actually have a department dedicated to that. Props.
Yeah, no. And Elijah is amazing. You know, you've done a lot of research. You know the work we're doing. I wish every New Yorker was on top of that. You know? But we know that in order, climate change is here, and in order for us to combat it, we need to do long-term planning, and we need to do things that are immediate as well, such as, you know, moving over to electric vehicles, making sure we build the necessary, protect our coastal lines, making sure that we take the necessary steps of how do we retain water, because many of the impacts that we're seeing, they have come from heavy rains inland, not only along our shores, but inland. And so we're coming up with new ways. Rick Agarwala over at DEP, the commissioner there, is really moving forward. Our entire team is on board, from DCAS, the new commissioner, the commissioner there, Louis Molina, is really looking at how do we deal with the climate change issues by just our fleet, our city fleet, and what else we can do to address the climate change issue.
Beautiful. And you know what, Night Watchman, what else you got, man?
Well, I just wanted to ask him, what's your biggest headache right now?
You know,
don't say reporters. Don't say reporters. But go ahead.
Okay, you took my number one issue. No, it's really continuing to finance the migrant asylum seeker issue. You know, at one time we were getting 4,000 migrants and asylum seekers a week. We're now down to less than 700. And, you know, there's those who just don't fully understand that New York City can't be a city that you can come from anywhere on the globe and stay in our shelter system on taxpayers' dime. That's just not sustainable. And there's some in elected office who feel it's inhumane to tell people you have a certain number of days you can stay in our system, and then you have to take the next step on your journey. And that next step on your journey may go to the municipality that you originally wanted to go to. Some people have made the decision to return back to their homeland because our streets were not paved as gold, as you know, many people reported. And so we want to make sure that those who are here go on to the next step and become self-sufficient and not see our shelter system as a permanency.
Gotcha. I know you're running, Mr. Mayor, so I'm going to have one last question here, and that basically has to do with, of course, transportation. I take the bus, love the bus. I'm not that far, but a lot of mofos, they ain't taking the bus, paying. So what can be done, or what might be your solutions for this, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, real problem. Almost, you know, one report showed that 50% of the riders are not paying, and what people don't realize, that when those riders don't pay, it comes out of our pockets. It comes out of your pocket. You're paying for that. It's unfair. And we're not talking about just people who are low income. We're talking about people who are walking around with money in their pockets, who have made up determination that they're just not going to pay. And I think that we set the tone previous administration when there was no real proactive ways of making sure people are paying. We're changing that. We're looking at the most abused lines, bus lines, and we're putting out our teams out there and going after those who are not paying, who are going through the back door. And some people, which I think is even worse, it's just walking past the bus driver and using, you know, being disrespectful and just refusing not to pay. And so we're clamping down on that because we clearly believe that people should be paying their fare.
Beautiful. Any final thoughts, Mr. Mayor, before we let you go? Because you know you're going to be invited back to the cookout. You know this already, right?
Yes, I look forward to it. I think the biggest thing that I want to share with you is our whole initiative, Money in Your Pocket. We have been able to identify $30 billion through access to benefits and programs that make New York City more affordable. I can't do anything about inflation. I can't do anything about those economic winds that are blown in different directions. But I can say to New Yorkers, we have services and resources that can assist you during these tough economic times. We want to make sure you get access to that. Our public engagement unit, they have been going out, speaking with people on the ground, and there's everything from our earned income tax credit. You know, brothers, we put $345 million back into the pockets of New Yorkers through our earned income tax credit that we were able to get the increase in the Senate in Albany. And think about the Big Apple Connect, what we did with NYCHA. Every NYCHA resident now has free high-speed broadband.
Wow.
That's $153 million. And when you were talking about not paying your fare, for low-income New Yorkers, we have something called Fair Fares. We put $145 million back into the Fair Fares. And I think one of the items that we're doing with Money in Your Pockets is the medical debt relief. You know, that's the number one cause of bankruptcy. We're going to save hundreds of thousands of New Yorkers from having that medical debt by paying it off with this nonprofit we partner with. It's going to come to a tune of $1.8 billion. These are real wins and real ways of putting money in the pockets of New Yorkers.
Woo! Man,
All
Mr.
right.
Mayor.
Yes.
Beautiful. Yes. And we're going to make sure you get your flowers while you're here, okay?
Love it, brother. Love it.
So, Night Watchman, you want to take us home? Commissioner Keith Howard, the New York City Department of Youth and Community Development. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How you doing, Curtis? How you
Good.
doing, Bob?
Great to have you here.
Well, I don't have to tell you, Keith, the mayor was giving you major props.
Yeah, I looked at the segment and Curtis, you and Bob. I mean, tough questions to the mayor, but you know he used to handling tough questions. But you guys have a very bona fide podcast going on. I love it. Love the topics that you threw at the mayor. I'm excited about being on, and I appreciate it.
All right.
Well, Commissioner, we understand that you can also chew bubble gum and walk at the same time. So needless to say, the mayor was major kudos to you, especially with your SYEP numbers for this past summer, man. So how do you
Okay,
do it?
wait, stop. Before you start dropping jargon and initials, let's talk about what he does, because he has an awesome responsibility.
Yes.
I mean, I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. So to teach them well, that's David Banks' area. Everything else is in your hands. So tell us about your purview and what your department actually does.
And Night Watchman, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yes, go ahead, Commissioner.
Listen, Bob, that's a really good question, and David is a brother of mine, a real friend, and we work very well together, collaboratively in this space. So what I normally tell folks is that David is in charge as a chancellor in the morning school, and I'm in charge of the after school.
True.
So DYCD is the largest youth bureau in the nation, and what does that mean? That means we have a large base and investment in our young people, from after school programs in several hundred schools to community centers that we run jointly with NYCHA to provide young people the space, to summer youth employment programs where the mayor, had kept a promise that he had, years ago, in extending summer youth employment when he became mayor from 75,000 to 100,000 young people, just getting summer jobs in the 6 weeks of the summer. In addition to that, the joint program that I have with the chancellor is Summer Rising, which is a version of summer camp.
Wow.
110,000 young people in the summer, another 6 weeks program that him and I roll out jointly. And it's just showing young people the arts, showing young people opportunities for career, taking young people to notable festivals and museums and going out there and sports and so it's a number of activities, but those two activities during the summer is the more prime activities for us, which is summer youth employment and also summer rising. But we don't stop there with DYCD, and that's why the last part of the Department of Youth and Community Development is community development. And I know Curtis knows a lot about this, that because he's running an amazing organization in Harlem. And Curtis, I want to give you a shout out on what you did at the Victoria Theater. All right.
Thank you.
So
Thank you,
I'm excited about that. I saw the layout and I went inside and kudos, brother.
Thank you.
Community development is also what we do in terms of our anti-poverty program. DYCD is also the largest recipient of federal grants in order to move our families and our communities out of poverty. This year was the 60th anniversary of the War on Poverty. Bob, you and Curtis know that there was a LBJ initiative in which there was an infusion of social programs that lifted young people from poverty, families from poverty. We celebrated it at the UN this year. So we have literacy programs, we have economic development programs, we have food banks that we run, we have entrepreneur programs. So there's a plethora of programs in that community development space specifically geared towards lifting our community and our community residents out of poverty. So if you combine the youth programs with the community development program, yeah, we do have a very extensive reach across the city.
Wow. And Commissioner, so in my background, I also headed up a nonprofit in the Rockaways that had a beacon program. Is that a component that you're still operating?
Beacon, started by the Mayor Deacons, is still up and running, and it is one of the jewels of our programs. We run it in about 90 plus schools citywide, and it's a community planning program. It also involved young adults and also our seniors. And we have a number of programs that infuses in intergenerational programming with my sister Lorraine over at DFTA, the commissioner over there, and doing intergenerational programming and making sure that both generations are learning from each other.
Wow, incredible. Night Watchman, you could have benefited from after school program. You know this, right?
Well, okay, so I did participate in SYEP, not when I was in high school, but in the first couple of years of college. In the summer, I was an SYEP supervisor up in Westchester.
Look at that.
So I know firsthand. And so as a supervisor, we worked with, I was part of that payroll that worked with the young kids. And I know that process. You can't overstate how important this is to not only have a place that youth can go and be directed and learn and earn at the same time. And so, it checks a number of boxes and hits a number of issues that provides family stability, because number one, parents don't have to worry as much about where their kid is from, especially during the summertime, and during the year, they know they're in school. At summer, where are they? What are they doing? Well, now they know, and they know they're doing something productive, and it also brings resources into the household. So it's an amazing program.
Well,
Wow.
let me tell you about this, our mayor, and then what a forward thinker he is. So other than increasing the slots from 75,000 to 100,000, our mayor instituted financial literacy across the board.
Wow.
Meaning that every young person has to take a financial literacy program course that our community-based organizations, who are magnificent in running our programs, every young person has to take a financial literacy course. I mean, have you heard of that before?
Nope.
So when I was in SYEP, when I was 16, my teacher was my mother.
Yes, yes.
And Juanita Howard didn't play. Okay, Juanita Howard said, "I want $50 out of your paycheck every pay period, and not only do I want $50 out of your paycheck every pay period, but your younger brothers and sisters who don't have jobs, I want you to give them money as well."
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
So you know that wasn't something that I really understood
At the time.
moment,
Right.
because back in the day, and Curtis, I know you and Bob can appreciate this. My thoughts was, when I get my check, I'm going down to Delancey Street.
Oh wow.
And I'm getting my 10 pair of sneakers.
Wow.
Different colors. Okay. So that when I walk into school, I'm going to be styling.
You're fresh, baby. You're fresh. Yes.
I'm fresh. Juanita Howard said, "Nope, you're not going to do that." So I had to give $50 to the bill. I had to create a savings account to put my money in, and that was that.
Wow. That incredible.
Better about it when you started seeing that savings start to accumulate. Okay.
I got it then.
Yes.
But I believe back in the day, that's when the Dr. James was out, and
okay.
Wow.
So what can I tell you?
Yes, incredible. But a valuable lesson that is typically not taught in communities of color. So I absolutely commend you and the leadership for that. Putting financial literacy as a cornerstone in terms of the program. But
and Curtis, you hit something, and when we talk about literacy, especially financial literacy, it is so needed in the Black and Brown community, especially those young people who are just as involved, or those young adults who are coming home from upstate, right?
Yes.
I mean, the impact of not understanding and what to do with any finances, or not having a proper ID to open up a savings or checking account, or not knowing what direct deposit is, because no one ever explained the benefits of direct deposit. So those are the things that the mayor has instilled on DYCD, because we have integrated with, in our Office of Neighborhood Safety, which we transitioned over from DYCD, we have an anti-gun violence employment program that's synonymous to SYEP, in which we help those young people who are either just as involved or being highly recruited by the gangs out here. Wow. And we create jobs and employment opportunities, and we teach them financial literacy as well.
Wow.
Yes.
Let me ask you this. I also heard you mention entrepreneurship, and I'd be interested to hear a little bit more about what you guys do in that regard.
We have amazing community-based organizations that we contract with on our community development part, and I mentioned our anti-poverty program, but this is one of them, in which we have a community-based organization that teaches young people and also young adults how to start their own business.
Wow. Yes.
And we have successfully helped young people, and we have, in fact, a young lady who started her own pocketbook business. And she's now selling it in Macy's.
Wow. Wow.
We have a young man who wanted to start his own construction company, and now he has construction contracts. So we do very intense work to show them the ABCs of starting their own business. And some of them have been very successful in launching their own businesses and creating success and wealth for themselves.
Wow. And Night Watchman, this kind of reminds me of a program that we had on one time called a Nifty. You remember that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so yes, Commissioner, I'm really, really encouraged. And so one of the things I got to put out there, Commissioner, is that I think, well, certainly when I was actually growing up and participated in the program, we never really thought about young people and some of the angst that they may be going through in terms of mental health. Does DYCD do anything to address those particular needs and resources are available at DYCD for young people?
One of the major issues on our list, pre-pandemic, post-pandemic, I mean, we've seen a rash of upticks in young people and their mental health. The mayor and wanted to make sure that we started to address young people and their mental health.
Wow.
And one of the things that we did about a year and a half ago, and we're going to continue to do it, by the way, and thanks for mentioning it, Curtis. We've had 6 town halls.
Gotcha.
And the town halls were at our schools, and shout out to the chancellor, in which we had young people present what is their issue, their number one issue that is plaguing them in the community and in their lives. These young people, as brave as they are, they stood up in front of the mayor and some of the high-level government officials, including myself, Dr. Fassan with the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Chief Obey over at the NYPD, another fantastic leader.
Yeah.
Our first deputy mayor, Sheena Wright, she has also convened it as well.
Nice.
Stood up in front of these high-level officials, looked the mayor in the eye and said, Mr. Mayor, let me tell you something. We're struggling with our mental health. And out of the 6 convenings, now they've happened in Brooklyn and also in the Bronx, because Brooklyn and the Bronx have the highest level of gun violence in terms of the statistics. So the mayor wanted to focus in on that. And they stood up and said, mental health and trauma is our number one concern. But their second concern was police interaction.
Okay. Wow.
So it was number one. And you both, Bob, you and Curtis know that if you ask somebody from the Bronx and you ask from Brooklyn a question, they're going to come at it 2 different ways. It's always been generational. Friction between the Bronx and Brooklyn. These young people were very, very solid on what they're experiencing. So we've been creating, the mayor has been leading with the mayor's office of mental health, and also Dr. Fassan with the mayor's office of mental health and hygiene. They've been leading the efforts tied into what Chancellor's doing at the New York City Public Schools in telehealth. And they've been getting the young people the help that they need. And it's still an evolving program, how to meet young people where they're at. Because I remember one young person turned to Dr. Fassan and said, you know what? You can put as many clinicians in front of me as you want to, but I am not going to talk to that person.
Wow. Okay.
I will open up to my friend before I open up to this clinician. So, we took that back and we're like, okay, how do we create a peer-to-peer?
Yes.
And there is no trauma bonding. And that young friend who is receiving all of this, information, can get that friend help that he or she needs, if that's what it takes. And that's what it means by meeting the young person where they're at. Okay.
Absolutely.
And understanding how to communicate on their level, not on our level. All right. And I'm just going to say this. And I had a conversation with my daughter and my son about this. My daughter Maya and my son Tyler, and we were talking about mental health, and they were talking about trauma bonding, because I didn't know what trauma bonding is until they explained it to me. And that's, bonding on trauma. So if you think you're helping your friend out, but now you're experiencing the same pressure and stress, and no one that is a clinician or a physician that's helping you, then you're bonding in that stress, right? So that's a layman's term of what I'm describing. And I'm pretty sure there's a more clinical term for it. But I say that to say, my daughter and son had to teach me, okay, how to understand what's going on in that space, right? And the way they taught me was explaining it to me, right? For me to listen. Because I'm from an old school, right? I mean, my dad, when I said I didn't want to go to school, I was experiencing something, my dad took me out on the porch and said, give me 25 push-ups.
Wow.
15 jumping jacks, and now go back to school.
Wow.
Tough love.
Tough love.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Well, one of the things now, we talk about, let's say, interaction, let's say, with law enforcement, with police, no doubt. We had actually a gentleman on the show. It was Reverend Al Cohen, who has a program that actually interacts with young people, have law enforcement interact with them, I think at one of these spots there on Lenox Avenue. And what have you found to be effective in terms of, let's say, bringing down the level of mistrust between law enforcement and young people, especially young people of color? Because we definitely have a different experience than, let's say, white families and law enforcement.
So the Reverend Cohen and his wife Jeanette is one of our partners, and they're doing great work in this space. In fact, they're doing such a great work in this space that we have partnered with them, and another senior partner of ours, Road to Success. Shout out to Sheila Dukes over there at Road to Success.
Yes.
We partnered with them over in the Bronx in a community center called Bronx Secor, where they are convening and having young people there, other than the Harlem location that they actually work at, but they're actually convening in the Bronx. They're taking that magic that they have in Harlem and they're bringing it over to the Bronx. Nice. So TAG, which is what Reverend Cohen and his wife is doing, they are phenomenal. They are voices. They will stand up in any meeting and express themselves. And I have attended many events with them as just a participant and also as a speaker. And I can tell you, when I want to know what the heartbeat of young people is, I listen to TAG. I work with them because they are spot on about being able to reach many levels and explain exactly the complexities of what young people are going on. What makes a successful interaction between young people and NYPD is leadership.
Yes.
So Chief Matry, phenomenal leader.
Yes.
Chief Stewart, Deputy Commissioner Mark Stewart, who runs community affairs, superior, magnificent leader. And the first Deputy Commissioner, Tanya, magnificent. I think it's the leadership, that is important. And former Commissioner, Caban, provided a platform for all of us to be able to say, you know what, this is a different NYPD, all right? And I will also go on to say that Chief Shell, all right, and Deputy Commissioner Cass Doherty, all right, that whole nucleus in NYPD, and also Chief Obey, they're so willing to sit down and just tell young people, we are you, you are us, you know, and listen to their concerns, and then change the leadership in order to make sure that young people and their voices are being heard. I have never, in my years of city government, and I've been in city government for a while, I've never seen a department open up as NYPD has opened up when it came to young people and young voices.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Commissioner, you mentioned, because I love the collaborations and the partnerships.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The level of integration you're having between Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, Department of Education, NYPD, local partnerships like Reverend Al. I would imagine you're probably doing some stuff with Street Corner Resources. And how long did it take you to weave all these partnerships together to get such an effective response?
Bob, let me tell you this, and shout out to Aisha Shakur, you know, my sister in this space, amazing work she's doing in Harlem, just, you know, running one of our CMS sites, trying to keep gun violence down, and just working in a wonderful way out there. And of course, shout out to our girl, Jackie Rowe Adams. Okay?
Jackie Rowe, yep.
From Harlem, mother and father safe. The mayor, in one of his first, and I would say the first instructions that he gave to the commissioners across the board is, I hate silos. I don't want you guys working in silos. Commissioner Howard, you work with Chancellor Banks. Chancellor Banks, I want you to work with ACS Commissioner Jeff. Commissioner, I want you to work with Lorraine down at DFTA, giving us specific instructions to not look in silos and to open up city government so that we can work collaboratively together. But it even goes beyond that, because at City Hall with my deputy mayor, Anna Amazal, all right, so welcoming, such a leader, you know, she is just so phenomenal in the space where she works collaboratively with the other deputy mayors. You know, so once you see that leadership, really liking and enjoying being in that space, working together, and that transcends down from the mayor, all right, from the first deputy mayor, Sheeta Wright, all the way down to the deputy mayors, all the way down to the commissioners, there has to be change. And what you're seeing, Bob, is the mayor leading in that effort. The first thing that the mayor would say is, to me, if there's a program or something involving an initiative, have you spoken to this person? Have you spoken to that person? And you better have spoken to that person, okay? Because he's going to challenge you on whether or not you're opening up or you're trying to do it all on your own. And that's not the way this government functions, not in this administration.
Absolutely. And certainly now, you mentioned in terms of meeting young people where they are. We certainly do know that this particular cadre of young folk, they are technology savvy, they are technology engaged. How are you embracing and utilizing technology to meet them where they are?
So it's partnerships, and you and Bob had mentioned this, you know, a couple of times as we're conversing. It's all about partnership, right? So we have an array of different partners in this space, especially in the tech world. We have partnership with Microsoft. I don't know if you brothers know Bruce Jackson. Bruce Jackson is one of the leaders in Microsoft, and he is very real in this space. And he's phenomenal in bringing youth into Microsoft as career explorations. We have a relationship with Google.
Mhm.
And so it's the tech companies being able to reach out to us and our providers, and even the small providers that teach tech for us. We got Black Girls Learn Tech. We have a couple of
Yes.
other nonprofit organizations that are teaching techs, and we contract with them to make sure that we are on the cutting edge and the young people are connected to the tech world. We're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks some work with a group on AI and making sure that young people have access and understand the world of AI. I mean, because that's such a developing, a developing part of what we should talk about. I mean, hell, I mean, you can write a term paper now in AI. Back in the day, there's nobody going back to the library, and doing research. You just talk to AI and tell them what the subject matter is, and that's it.
Yes.
We have we had an event that was hosted last year that brought more than 300 social media influencers to our network to help us spread the word about our programs. And now, back in the day, you and I, we all know about print media, right? So we looked at the train, we looked at the things that was hanging up in our community, and that was the marketing strategy. Now we have social influencer, and if you haven't learned that you need to get your agency or your organization out there by using social media through the social influencer, then you are behind the times.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, now I love, of course, your comms person, Mark, but I did notice that in terms of the tech person was a young person or youngish person. So no doubt that's how it's going. One of the things that kind of struck me, you mentioned in terms of let's say inequality, addressing it. One thing I didn't know, you guys being in the space, let's say you mentioned food bank. So you address food deserts, food inequality for certain communities?
Absolutely. We have a network and we fund food banks in our community development as part of our anti-poverty program. That was actually one of the pillars of the war on poverty, is making sure that communities and community of colors have access to food.
Yes.
So yeah, that's one of the things that we do. We we have a good relationship with, and I know this brother that runs Harlem Grow.
Oh, yeah, Tony Hillary, baby.
Tony's the man. Tony has a couple of our programs, and we're looking to do more with him, to make sure that we're continuing to grow out these spaces for him in our public school to show young people not only access to food, but access to good food.
Yes, indeed. Because we certainly do know it in our communities. Fast food, that is sometimes the only option. So having fresh access to fresh produce is incredible. Night Watchman, what you got, man?
I'm just enjoying listening to all the things that you've been doing, but also I'm enjoying, Keith, the passion that you're bringing to this, because you're obviously, as they say, 10 toes down on this thing. So, I appreciate that because, as I said at the top of this thing, this is our future. This is our legacy, and just the range of things that you're doing to address, including mental health, including gun violence, including entrepreneurship, financial literacy. Now, what about arts? I think you said something about the arts, and what types of things are you doing there?
We definitely need more investment in the art. We do work very well with Commissioner Lori Combo. She's very good in this space. We partner with her in certain spaces. So DYCD started a program with her at Crown Hill Theater in Brooklyn, in which we had our Advance and Earn employment program. and young people. Each participant was trained on the state-of-the-art equipment, learning event productions and execution. In fact, when they did their production, they did their own production. And we did it with one of our amazing providers, Stanley M. Isaac Neighborhood Center, who were trained in theater production, media, and arts. We have a partnership with the Black Spectrum Theater.
In Queens, Southeast Queens.
Oh my God. Carl
Good
Clay.
love, Carl Clay, baby.
Brother Clay. Killing it. Okay. All right. So he's one of our long-term partners in this space, showing young people theater, and listen, Carl is real. Carl is old school, So if you want to see some old school magic, you go to Black Spectrum Theater, and they'll show you how to do a production and how to bring people into those spaces. So we have that. We have a good relationship out now with Apollo. So we've done a number of events at the Apollo, and we have a SYEP program with RealWorks, which they teach production and digital production and with young people, and they did a great job this past summer. So we have a lot of integration there. You brothers know, of course, being Harlem, Big Russ.
Right? Yes. Get your hair cut, baby. Yes.
Yeah, but what y'all probably don't know about Big Russ, and we have a barbershop program with him. But what you don't know about Big Russ is that Big Russ is also a film producer.
No, I did not know.
So,
okay. Wow.
So Big Russ, actually, we work with Big Russ to produce one of the first films that he's done with young people in Harlem. It was a really good production. He showed them exactly how to do behind the scenes work, and they created their own film. And you should just see the young people as they were learning how to work behind the scenes and work with the equipment, and Big Russ just guiding them on production. All right. So this little known fact, Big Russ, outside of the barbershop, where he teaches entrepreneur and how to get your master's barber license, which we contract with him through Jackie Rowe Adams. But he also does movie productions as well.
I love that part, because and I know, Commissioner, when we see filming of, let's say, television shows or movies in our community, when we look at the crew, they are not reflective of the community. So kudos to Big Russ for really exposing young people to that aspect. You're right. So right. Well, I guess one of the other things I have to comment on. You mentioned earlier about is it Youth Rising in terms of the program? Summarizing. Thank you. So almost like I'm seeing thinking Upward Bound almost.
Oh yeah, Upward Bound. Sure.
So, Commissioner, do tell me, do you also take these young people on trips, let's say, to see the installations in art at, let's say, SUNY New Paltz?
So that's a very good question. So I know Upward Bound has been, in this space for years. So our community-based organizations that do our summer rising take young people throughout the city.
Wow, gotcha.
Events from plays to parks. We have, and here's something that Curtis, I don't know if you know this yet, but we have a very excellent relationship with the Yankees. We did this Summer Night Lights, and it's a partnership with New York Yankees, NYPD's Blue Chip, Department of Parks. Shout out to Sue over at Parks Department, the commission over there, and Scan Harbor. So we had baseball and softball leagues that were played at the old Yankee Stadium.
Wow.
And more than half of the players was young women of color.
Wow.
Wow.
And
Wow.
this summer, participant had the opportunity, the rare opportunity, okay, and they played the championship game at Yankee Stadium.
Wow.
Wow. Wow.
Okay. And that was phenomenal. Okay. We've also did the first pitch, which is another partnership with the Yankees, and we provided opportunities for young people to create social messaging murals that were featured at Yankee Stadium. We have a strategic partnership unit that connects with organizations so young people can get experience. We have a relationship with the New York Knicks. Shout out to the Knicks, hoping they get further on than they did this last year.
Yes.
Which we're definitely rooting for them. So they run clinics at our Saturday Night Lights programs. And we do have our relationship with the Mets. We love the Mets. You know, they gave us a tour of the Major League Baseball Commissioner's office, and we took a trip to the Citibank headquarters and also the Jackie Robinson Museum. You know, so
Yes.
shout out to the Mets.
So Barrack Street, yes, perfect.
Yes,
Love it.
love to do more things with the Mets, though. I mean, the Yankees are crushing it. The Mets got to step up, you know. But we have these great partnerships that we do these convenings. But I want to say this one thing, and this is something that you're going to be seeing because the mayor insisted on this. Last year, we sent a number of young people overseas to Ghana.
Wow.
The mayor turned to me and he gave me one of his many instructions to me, and I take them literally because he doesn't forget. All right? He said, I want every young people in your program. Now we're talking about 100,000 young people in summer youth, 110,000 young people in summer rising, you know, couple of hundred people or kids in after school program. He says, I want every young people in your program to have passports.
Wow.
He said, I want them to become not Metro card holders, but passport holders.
Wow.
Okay. And he wants me to do more international trips, taking young people overseas so that they can experience things far beyond the 5-block radius of their neighborhood.
All right. Are you familiar with a non-profit called Birthright Africa?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I will connect you with them because that's what they have been doing, you know, over the last several years. They routinely take teens over to Ghana and other places in Africa, and so I think that would be a great fit in terms of what you're doing and helping you to partner and expand on that.
Bob, that would be great. We're always looking for partners to grow out the space. Could not have enough credible partners teaching experiences. And when the young people came back, the experience they had was of a lifetime.
Yes.
You know, so it changes their mindset.
Right.
In terms of living beyond what they thought they were capable of living beyond.
Yes. You know what? Major kudos to the mayor, because that's revolutionary, Commissioner. Revolutionary. Having young people exposed to more than their 4 blocks. Just incredible. It's getting a passport. So I also have to ask you this question. So we certainly did hear during the summer the difficulty in, let's say, finding lifeguards for the, of course, for the beaches. What about you guys in terms of finding, let's say, supervisors for the SYEP programs? How was that?
So, you know, like any industry, we are concerned about keeping, you know, a very strong workforce. Our nonprofit entities who just do a great job in keeping these their community-based organizations in touch with the community. They always are looking for the strong leadership, and they try to highly recruit within the community. So yeah, I mean, when we launch in the summertime and even in the fall, they're constantly trying to recruit, executive directors, youth activity specialists, even down to someone who can do their fiscal, their all their bookkeeper.
Oh, yes, yes.
Always constantly recruiting. So they have a number of openings, and I will provide that information to both you and Bob about what openings are available and connect you to that network, because they are highly recruiting. Just like our for-profit industry, our nonprofit industry is also looking for the highest talent.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, Night Watchman, we are coming to a close, but you know what, Commissioner? Need to know, let's say, how does one get in touch with, let's say, any of the resources available there at DYCD from, let's say, the in-school programs, the after-school programs? Who should they reach out to? You tell me.
So our website, DYCD Connect, you can go on, you can Google DYCD Connect, or you can just Google DYCD. And you have a list of all of our funded programs. You can put in the search mode by zip code, and here will pop up a list of our programs from our after-school programs to our workforce programs, to Saturday Night Lights, which we have about 140 locations in the 5 Borough that provide safe places for young people to enjoy sports and hang out with their peers on Saturday from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. So it's all about access. And not only that, we talked about social media briefly, but we have a really, really high social media presence on Instagram and Facebook. And yeah, just hit us up on the gram, and we'll be able to connect young people to programs and their parents as well.
Beautiful, beautiful. Night Watchman, I guess you're going to take us home, but hold it. Do you think the commissioner will be invited back to the cookout?
Oh yeah, you know it. He got some secrets on you, so we got to invite him back.
Wow.
But I love his wife, so I won't say anything.
Right. Those who say don't know, and those who know don't say.
And we definitely have to give a shout out to our big brother, Mr. Walker. We love you.
Willie Walker's our mentor, our big brother, and he's one of the leaders of our brotherhood. In which our intentions is always to bring young people into this space. If you haven't checked out this movie called The Forge, okay, check it out in the theater, because both Bob and Curtis, it is exactly what we do, Curtis and I, in terms of bringing young people, young men into positive environment and nurture and mentor them throughout our career.
Excellent, man. Commissioner, bravo.
No. I appreciate this, and this is a great opportunity. Thank you guys. Your brothers in this space, you're real in this space, and it was exciting to be on. And of course, shout out to our mayor. He's phenomenal. Let me tell you something. When I started out, I was like, oh, I'm gonna go toe for toe with him. He's gonna be up at night. I'm gonna be up at night. That lasts for a week. Okay.
I got you, brother. I got you. So Night Watchman, take us home.
You've been listening to Soul Lounge Prime Time on WHCR 90.3 FM, the voice of Harlem. Also live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. You can always find us on Monday evenings, 7 p.m. on the radio, and 8 o'clock live streaming on those channels. Thank you, Keith Howard. Thank you, Commissioner Keith Howard, for the great work that you're doing. As Curtis said, you will be invited back to the cookout, and we look forward to seeing you soon.